A state of emergency has been declared in West Virginia in the USA after a chemical leak into a river.
The toxic spill poisoning the water that serves 300,000 people.
Drinking water in 9 counties has been deemed unsafe.
Don't make baby formula with it, don't brush your teeth with it, don't wash with it, don't shower with it, don't drink it. You can't just boil it.
The crisis began when a toxic chemical used to process coal leaked out of a 48,000-gallon storage tank. The chemical overflowed into the Elk River just north of a water treatment plant that provides drinking water for the region.
It's clear that it's migrated through the treatment plant into the distribution system and that it's at the customer's taps.
The chemical could be harmful if ingested in large amounts and could potentially cause eye and skin irritation.
Bottled water and bags of ice have been flying off store shelves.
Everybody's wanting water. There is no water.
I mean, you can't live without water.
Many are starting to have serious questions about the health risk they may face from exposure to a chemical officials know so little about. More than 700 people in the Charleston area have called poison control centers, complaining of nausea, vomiting, headaches, and rashes.
We don't know that the water's not safe, but I can't say it is safe.
I was live on the air when the governor's first tweet went out basically announcing that this had happened.
No one was prepared for it.
Water is extremely valuable, and we just often take it for granted because we have so much of it.
Your gut check when the systems that you rely on every day fail is panic.
So the spill occurs on the Elk River. The Elk River is a water source for that area because it's so clean.
This event started on Twitter with Governor Earl Ray Tomlin's initial tweet a little after 5:30 that day. And it became a Twitter event. It became a social media event.
On Twitter during the water crisis, it truly was the 7 stages of grief because no one knew how to react.
What was surprising to me, and I think surprising to a lot of people, was how susceptible that water source was.
It quickly became clear this was not a boil water advisory. This was something much more serious.
I've never, ever seen the community of West Virginia come together in a way that people did during the water crisis.
Our newsroom became home for our staff. We didn't have water in our newsroom, so we were trucking in, bottled water where we could get it. We had people sleeping in their sleeping bags. People were working long shifts and staying up 24, 36 hours, 48 hours at a time to cover it.
One of my favorite things that I saw in that time was going down Quarrier Street, and there was a guy and his wife, and they looked like they might have been, late 50s, early 60s, who had loaded up the back of their truck with cases of water from Walmart, and they were going down the road handing them out to people. And it turned out that they were from Braxton County, and they had heard about the problem and they just wanted to come and help. And their charm was everything you would expect from a West Virginian.
Our staff, our reporters, their families, many of them, I think nearly all of them, they lived in apartments and in homes where they didn't have water either. So this was a story that they were covering, but they were also experiencing firsthand.
It's hard to say who was at fault for this incident. I think that there's a myriad of people, from the people that were operating the business itself to local politicians and the county commission. Anyone who knows anything about steel industrial tanks could drive down I-79, look and see 100-year-old pop-riveted carbon steel tanks and think that maybe they weren't the best thing to be running.
There's good technology for measuring things in the water, but the way we network that information together and then spread that or communicate that to people that they can use it then is pretty limited. We don't really do that, and it's surprising.
Even once the water was turned on, people didn't believe the water was safe. There are some who live in parts of those 9 counties in southern West Virginia who still don't believe their water is safe.
We have switched to bottled water, drinking and cooking, and we also have a tabletop distiller in case we can't get to a bottled water supply. So in that, I don't know that we'll ever trust the city water system in Charleston again.
Scientists like me, we can sample streams every day, all day, everywhere, and we do, right? But if residents in these areas aren't aware of it, or if it doesn't become part of what they're conscious of, it has less value.
Know what's going into the water. Know how your water's processed. Understand what potential hazards there are along the waterways which feed your particular system. People didn't know.
We have to be protective of that water. I mean, we have to be